One of the things that I would like to do in my life before I die is to finish one, at least just one novel. And mind you, I have started so many different short novel, long novels, epics, magnum opus. Is there a, I guess there is no plural for magnum opus. I guess that's kind of the idea of it, that there's only one. But like, I've started several magnum opuses, magnum puses. Oh, never. Let's move on. Let's move on. But you get what I mean, right? I think a lot of newbie writers, such as myself, example number one, have this kind of falling off period where you'll get excited to write a lot, and then you write a lot for a little bit, and then you completely fall off. Guilty as charged. I do that all the time. I've been recently thinking, how do I get out of this? I really would like for a project that I have to at least get to, perhaps, I'll even be happy if I write up until the middle of a draft 0 or a draft 1. You know what I mean? I'm just at that spot in my writing journey where I'm getting kind of sick and tired of myself, where I start something and then I don't finish it. I just want the book to be done, if that makes sense. I'm not even talking about publishing. I'm just talking about, I just want to write something complete and kind of long. But I've been implementing a few quick, simple tricks. Mainly one simple trick, I'll be honest, that is helping me get there. And I guess maybe over the next few months to a year, we'll see how well it worked. The first thing I've been doing recently to convince myself that I really love writing and that I really want to finish the story and that I can make time for it, I've stopped making writing something that happens when inspiration hits. I think a lot of creators say that something inspiration, habit, routine. I don't really know what they say. The idea is that I'm making my writing more routine. I'm not just writing whenever I feel like I have a great idea, which is not very often these days. But I've found that regularly writing, even if it's very short, is helping me stay in touch and in contact with the story consistently, so that it's always on the mind and that I don't lose where I'm at, and then I have motivation to keep going. It's more of a marathon rather than a sprint. I think that's the right parallel I'm trying to draw here. But the thing is, the great idea here is that even if it is a marathon, not a sprint, when you are training for a marathon, you have to train regularly. You cannot just go ham one day and be like, oh shoot, I'm not going to train the rest of the day. You have to train a little bit. I don't know what the marathon, a little bit every day. I don't know. This analogy is kind of falling apart, but you get it. A little bit of time every single day, that makes a world of a difference in your motivation, in getting back to the story and actually knowing what's happening, and then getting the ideas flowing. The other problem that I found that I have is that this is gonna probably appeal to a very niche group of people. I personally write for comics and mediums where the main method of storytelling isn't just plain text, if that makes sense. I like the multimedia method of writing, where it's like, yes, you're writing a thing, but then there's another thing that goes with the writing. That's the way my brain works. I've been able to plot out and script out large chunks of really long comics and other forms of storytelling, but for some reason, I've learned that I just can't do the same thing to just writing. I've been thinking, what in the world is stopping me from plotting a whole novel the same way I do a comic, right? And I think I just kind of realized that the thing that keeps me motivated to write in a comic is that I have all these scenes in my head that I'm thinking, I can't wait to draw this, I can't wait to render this drawing, I can see a picture of what the scene looks like and it's gonna be like this, the sequence of panels here is gonna look like this, and then in order for all those panels to happen, this and this and this and this and this needs to be written. But for me writing like a novel or something, it's much more difficult for me to I guess get as excited, because the scenes I'm picturing in my head, I know that I'm probably not going to draw them all in the future. So I get kind of, I get kind of bummed out, I guess, because the scenes that I envision are happening so far in the future and I'm just so far away that I can't just get to it. You know what I mean? There's nothing for me to hold on until I write to that end of the story where that cool scene happens. And for my next trick and for my next tip, I will tell you the key to it all to figure this out. I realized that my writing process, this is for me, I don't know if anybody else will be able to use this advice, but like, this is for me. You can take and leave what you want. But for me, I tend to write, when I write in a very chronological order. By chronological, I mean it's like I write as if the book is going to be read that same way, right? I realized that when I'm writing, especially my first draft, I write way too much in detail. I put too much detail in there, because why am I on page 3 of draft 1? I don't even know where the story is going. And why am I editing paragraphs, guys? Why am I checking my grammar? What's going on? What's happening? No wonder nothing gets finished. I get stuck on the early pages thinking like, oh, I gotta make this an exquisitely crafted first 3 pages, and then I'll keep it going, and then I lose momentum, I lose stamina, I lose steam by the time I get to, I don't know, page 5. So I've been really dialing back on the detail of the writing that I do. And I realized in order for me to be able to plot the whole book, my first draft, my 0 draft, is gonna be very, very simple. Very, very simple. I'm just gonna get ideas out there. Bullet points if I have to. It's gonna be an outline. Maybe a bit more detailed. I don't know. Because I think the issue is that I don't really know if I'm a plotter or if I'm a pantser at this point in time. I don't know if I prefer to really plot things out or if I just, go off the pants of my seat. I don't know if that's the actual saying. Let's just roll with it. But yes, that's my second piece of advice for newbie writers. Make sure for your first draft, especially if you don't know what's going to go on later in the story, do not go granular. You should look at things from a very high level to start off with, because those scenes you're looking forward to, they might never happen because you lose steam by editing prose for chapters you're not very excited for right now. But yes, that's my second piece of advice. For my third piece of advice, you really have to make writing fun. And by fun here, I mean more so in the sense of you really have to try out different methods of planning, different methods of writing, different methods of just developing your ideas, developing the world. I know a lot of people like to do the Pinterest boards to get them motivated or to help them plot the storylines. I know a lot of people like to write pen and paper on a notebook. How they do it, I don't know. My hand cramps up way too easily for any of that, so I had to set it out. And then what I personally like to do is I love my obsidian. I can give a tour at some point, but in my obsidian board, what I love to do is I love to plot things on the canvas board. I know that I think there's other programs that can do this, but right now what I'm using is obsidian to where it's just easy, it's quick, it fits in with everything else I do. But it helps me to be able to look at my story in new ways, connect different plot pieces that I never could, because at this first draft of the story, things really don't matter that much. Things are very mobile, and I think what has previously really got me in writing is that I have bound myself too quickly in the writing process, right? Not only am I granular in the details and the plotting of the process, I'm also not very flexible in how I write my first draft. in that if I start off the book in first person and then later on I'm like, oh, I want to do third person, I think it makes more sense for this sort of atmosphere for this whole thing to be third person, but then I'll say, oh, I've already started first person, it's too late, let's move on. And then are we surprised when I don't finish the book? I don't think so. And then when I'm plotting, I used to really do plotting / outlining in bullet points, and I'd find that later on in the story I'm like, this detail doesn't really make sense, how did this and this happen? I'm like, well, I don't know, I gotta find a way to make it fit. I already wrote these 2 plot details earlier on, and at some point I'm like, girl, are we kidding? Are we literally serious right now? There's 2 bullet points in your document, go up, delete them, remove them, I don't care, do whatever, delete the document, start a new one, I don't care. It's just that I think I get too much in my head that the book, the writing has to be great the first time, and I don't really keep in mind that there's that iterative process between drafts and whatnot. And I think also that's something that writing for comics helps me just kind of navigate, because in comics the way I navigate it is that I have a like general outline phase, just general plot beats, and then I have an outline phase in which I'm like, okay, what assets do I need to make, and then what do I need to know in the story in order to figure out what those assets are, right? And then boom, that's done. And then I do my thumbnails, boom, that's done. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to make like a proper draft. And then I'm like, oh, for that draft to be made, I need like a proper script. So then I get to go to the outline and refine the outline and make the script. And then as I'm drawing, I'm thinking, oh, this isn't really fitting the drawing, or this isn't fitting where we're at in the story, and then I edit the script then, and then I edit the drawings. So I think the difference here in what I'm doing between comics and writing is that comics, I just naturally have the process in order to where I'm like, oh, I start off with a rough draft and then I refine it. But then the rough draft is still prone to change. I can always go back and change things. I'm never scared to change things when I'm writing for comics. But somehow here, when I'm just writing a novel, I think whatever I did in my previous draft has to carry on to the next draft, and I'm just refining it. I think in my brain is saying, oh, you can't change that, you already wrote it. You already wrote it in full sentences. Once something is in a full sentence, it's there forever. You're done. I think you get the idea. In conclusion, do not be afraid to change things. Do not be afraid to be flexible. Whether that is in your writing, in whatever tools you choose, in whatever methods you use to plot things, right? For me, I'm figuring out very quickly that for my outlining phase, I am not good with structured bullet points. I'm not good with fully written out sentences. I'm good with things that you can move around, with pictures, with general concepts, general feelings, general moods, right? And then later on, as I go on, I don't know what I'm gonna be cool with. I haven't gone that far, unfortunately. But I really think that it's one of the things that's really holding me back, because at some point I do get tired of restricting myself, and at that point I just stop writing, where I think this isn't fun anymore, the plot doesn't make sense, I hate this long bullet point list of all these chapters that I'm never gonna get to. And then I just give up, and then it's not an overt giving up, but it's just that I move on to projects that excite me more then, and then I start a new project because I'm like, this one will be different. This one's different because, and I wouldn't have anything to tell you why it would be different. But yeah, that's just my quick 3 tips of how I'm getting more back into writing and how things are, moving along. But yeah, I really do wish you the best in your writing journey. If you're writing, or I don't know, if you're not writing also, I wish you best in whatever journey you're taking. It's not easy. I don't know. It's, for me personally, it's not easy for me to really buckle up my bootstraps and just finish the whole thing. But these 3 things have really been helping me out over the few months I've been using them. But yeah, if the book ever does come out, you'll hear about it. I'll say, it worked, guys. I'm not full of hot air. But yeah, that's all I have today. Happy writing. Like the video, subscribe, and all that nonsense. I'll see y'all later. Ciao.